very little scoring between these coils. That's why this happened. So it kind of feels like the clay is sticking. Most of you know this by now, and this was an early project. But I brought it forward right now because, is this student here? This is Forrest, okay. But Forrest will, and if this happened, something so straightforward like this can still be glazed and glazed separately and put together in the firing. It'll fuse. So Forrest can still save this piece, okay? And that you can do for certain things that are like set on top of each other. If this was a piece that fell off the side, we couldn't do that too, right? But because it's stacked one upon the other, this can be saved in the glaze firing, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Here's another lid. Melissa's really nice spot. Oh, nice.
I was very happy with that because I probably messed it up and didn't put wax on it. So
and then you wiped it. So she didn't wax, it was all glazed. What's the advantage of firing a lid on a base? Like Jade did and like Melissa did.
It will not work.
Exactly. Now that lid is going to always fit so nicely. If she had fired this separately and if Jade had, it would have conformed to the shelf. See how it rocks on a level surface now. What would have happened, it would always rock on its base. And this way, you have always such a nice fit now. That's really snug. That's an excellent fit. Both of you. Did you lift this off? Yay! So same with Jade. Now that's going to always fit really nicely.
It looks like burned on the rim, but it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it does almost look burned with the glaze border result. And this is the robin's egg. And Melissa, what did you use on there?
That's Turkish amber.
Turkish amber. Okay. Awesome.
Can I ask a question? Did you stir it really well before you used it? Or
Yeah.
because there's, like, this is Turkish amber. And that's Turkish amber, which makes me wonder.
That
how
this
you
is
get
a thinner application
So
than
you
that.
just, right, so you just
And I
put
think
it
this
into
is
like
Turkish amber too,
instead of
maybe, or partly at least.
Probably.
I just
This-
didn't know if it was a stirring thing or a time that it was.
Yeah, it may be a little of both. To me, it looks like a thickness because you can see on this is also Turkish amber. And so this is a great question. This is why we like to do this all together. Because lighter application, darker, where it doubled up a little bit here on these strips. Okay? And what is the other thing about Turkish amber?
But I need it to be like
It runs. It runs in the firing. So that is a borderline, and that was effective. It was fine, but no lower than that, right? And you can see how the thicker, it definitely ran on the inside. Where it was a little thicker, you can see where it sort of wanted to run a little bit. So be aware of the runny glazes and what. When you overlap glazes, there was somebody did two runny glazes together. That was
I think
this
it was
one.
me.
And so this was forest green with some robin's egg over. Really nice, Jade. And inside, put it as thick as you want it inside. That doesn't matter because it's going to pool on the bottom. You can get some really nice results inside. And on the outside, you have to be careful. So I had Jade make sure she wiped up because I anticipated more running, but where she overlapped it, it did run down a little more. You can see these drips and on the inside. Very effective. But two runny glazes, really careful. Please, only overlap on, double up on the lip itself and the inside is fine. Okay, this shows some runny glaze, and this is robin's egg with stain under it. Wow, that's pretty cool. So the stain definitely mixed with the glaze and ran with it. So some different kind of effects, and I'm not sure if this is what you had in mind, probably more along the lines of
It's
this.
Janae's.
Oh, this is Janae's?
Yeah, this one worked a lot better though. This is Janae's too.
Oh, okay, because it was not a runny glaze.
Right.
So this is stain under, I believe, walnut, it looks like, walnut spice. And that shows up much better. She incised it, she carved lines, and then filled them in with stain, then dipped it in glaze. I bet she did this the same way, so you can see the different results. This is with that technique with robin's egg, with walnut spice. No runniness, came out much better. Okay, if Janae gets here before we're done, we'll ask her how she did that, so you guys can replicate it. More robin's egg. This is robin's egg over Lido satin.
No, that's not robin's egg. That's forest green.
Oh, forest green on top
Which is
of
the same
Lido.
as this, so it turned different color.
Yeah, probably because of the pooling.
Yeah, so what I actually think I did, I think I might have done robin's egg and forest green, I don't remember, because I remember trying to marble forest green and it didn't work. So then I kind of just pulled it on there, kind of like that.
Okay. And you can see that the forest green put on the outside ran a little bit, but because the Lido satin is not a runny glaze, it sort of caught it better, right? It melted it in better. It ran a little bit to the rim right there. So good. And this is another one. Let's talk about this. Jade, you did a lot of glazing. That's great.
Yeah, I had to do them all at the same time.
Is this desert yellow?
Yeah, so then forest green, which I've never used desert yellow. I wanted to see how it mixed, which it looked okay.
It does. It does. The desert yellow, I'm wondering if it was maybe just a little thicker there.
I think
It's awfully clear.
it is very clear. I didn't do a very long application of it because I thought it ran, and then I ladled some of the green on it. And I remember there was a lot more green right here, so that's probably why it's a lot darker right there.
It looks really nice the way it's
Yeah, it looks
sort
kind
of
of tied
veined
up.
right there. Yeah. Was there sediment at the bottom of the desert yellow?
Probably.
Okay, so, and, because to me, this looks like, number one, the desert yellow may not have been entirely mixed, or number two, it was too thin, or number three, it wasn't held in quite long enough. But because of the variations, I tend to think maybe it wasn't mixed quite thoroughly. So make sure your glazes are mixed really well. In the robin's egg, you get this really nice sheen after really nice mixing. Otherwise, it's going to be thin and very, variable, not consistent, and sparse. Okay, and this is beautiful glaze on the outside, and there's no glaze on the inside. And several pieces were done this way for this firing. And the ones that I caught, I asked and made sure that I think this person put glaze on the inside, and if I caught it, I made sure if you guys were still here, I asked, because this is not waterproof, right? Because there's no glaze on the inside. There's no glaze on the inside of the bottom and the outside of the bottom. So unfortunately, this is not waterproof. And would you hand me that piece? Rachel, will you? Thank you. And same with this piece. It's not glazed on the bottom, and it is not waterproof. So, if an easy way to glaze the insides of these, you guys tell me, what would be an easy way to glaze inside of these pieces?
Ladling it.
Ladle the glaze inside and roll it around, okay? And dump it out. Then you can, either before or after you glaze the outside. This piece was glazed really heavily, and so I was concerned about running, rightly so. It did run a little bit on the thicker spots, so Susie scraped some off of the outside, and it got a little thin in spots, but it looks really nice, I think, where the clay shows through. So this is what the robin's egg does with the clay showing through. It looks bronzy and almost metallic, so I think that's awesome. And it's not waterproof, unfortunately, but that was okay with you. That's kind of what you wanted. Okay. This doesn't sit very well. I wonder if that's the tape. It's a little bit rocky. Just noticing. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to look for some other things that maybe are a little different. Okay. So what Melissa did with this, and this is a really nice coil piece that she supported on the inside of the bowl for support while she built it. And there were some cracks in there, and you underglazed, right, with black.
And then there's black. They kind of turned blue with the like green over.
Yeah, parts of it did. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. How was it? I was thinking that the black would get darker because of the green, but it got lighter, which was weird.
I remember using black last year, and black doesn't ever really stay black if you mix it with anything. It turns different colors, mostly blue.
The black underglaze.
Yeah, I remember doing it with antique blue, and I did a black bottom, and it just totally turned it into dark blue.
Like a speckle.
Yeah, it was a really cool speckled dark blue, but it's not gonna stay black if you mixed it.
Okay, so the when you're using underglaze with clear overglaze, you can predict their color pretty closely. But when you're using different color glazes over them, even the semi-transparent, they'll show through better, but that alters the color, right? Because you're putting color on top. Okay, good. Robin's egg and horse green.
Yes.
Okay, so that was 2 runny glazes, and it was nice and thick. That was a really nice. It did cool a little bit. Fortunately, did not run that much. I think I put a pad under this just in case it ran, because you are already gone. Or I probably would have had you thin that out of that a bit. So, Janae, 2 different results, we think, from the same technique. Underglaze to accentuate the,
No, that's
stain.
not underglaze, it's stain.
Stain. Yeah. And then because of the runniness of the robin's egg and maybe the thickness versus the walnut spice, did you just paint it on in the cracks, or did you just rub it on the whole side?
Well, I like painted it in the cracks and then like rubbed it both, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I did that a bunch of times last year, and it didn't come out very weird.
This one looks good though.
It did not do this
But this
last
one
year
turned
once, I don't
blush.
think. Whoa, that's scary.
That one looks, that's what we were saying, this one you can see the details because it's thick. And this one
I think it also, yeah, it's probably the glaze, and also depends on like how deep the cracks or the like scorpio is, because I did this when it was like kind of dry, so it came out kind of like not that. See, like I don't know. That's weird. I don't know what that is.
Okay, so when you say sgraffito, let's talk about what that is, because do you mean you etched through the glaze to the
No,
pattern?
that's when you put the like clay on top. Yeah, that's sgraffito. Is there a special
Sgraffito
word for,
is, yes,
like, just carving in it?
etching, but sgraffito actually means layers that you're carving. You're carving through a layer of glaze or slip to an under layer of a different color. That's what sgraffito means. So that's a technique. That's a surface decoration that you guys can use. So this is just filling in the etching and then putting over glaze, right?
Yeah.
Using 3X. Okay, and this one I put a disc under because of the underglaze on. So good, I'm glad that didn't stick. Remember, no underglaze on the bottoms. I'll just remind you one more time. Some more underglaze results, and I'm really happy to see some really nice overglaze results. And this, did you already detach that before? This morning. And another nice lid fired with this piece. And this is the black Melissa used. We have a new test tile. The Ceramics 2 mixed a new batch of black. And it's so, and this is with Melissa, white underglaze that you waxed.
Yes.
She underglazed the whites, carved their recesses, and then waxed them to resist the black glaze, then dipped the piece in black glaze to get that white and black pattern. I'll show that soon.
My yellow picture was kind of strange because I did underglaze and then just a clear in that maroon underglaze and then just didn't come through.
You used yellow and maroon underglaze
Yeah,
and clear over it.
yeah,
Did you put maroon on top of the yellow?
yes.
Okay, so that's where it is. But also the maroon does tend to bleed out with the clear over it, and you see that on the sample tile. But if you're putting underglaze over underglaze, a lot of times you'll get unpredictable results. If you really want that defined, you have to carve it out or just put one coat of underglaze and then paint the pattern around it with underglaze. But the maroon underglaze is a problem anyway.
It was rose.
It was rose, yeah. It was rose underglaze, and it tends to bleed out. Okay, so
This is cute. It's a mug picture.
got a couple of splotches of blue on this. Was that intentional? Oh, I wonder what happened. There are definitely splotches of blue. Either it got contaminated. I doubt that it was from the kiln because they're just too rounded that they might have gotten splattered somehow and undetected. Okay, let's do this one because this is a nice combination. Walnut spice with forest green.
I think. Yeah, it's forest green.
And that's really nice. It's just dip in and then dip up to here in the forest green, right? So the forest green did dribble down. I better check that walnut spice. I wonder if it's too thick. It looks nice, but that is a thick application. And
It's weird because it doesn't look like it runs. It just comes on really thick.
That's kind of how the gate is too.
the agate.
Agate.
Okay, we'll check those two before Wednesday. And this is really cool though. There's like a little bit of a purple rim where the forest green caused where it dribbled down and ran. I think it thinned out the walnut spice and gave that almost purplish effect, purplish gray, kind of cool. Okay, any questions? Oh, this is another example of forest green with royal blue over it?
Yeah.
Yeah, with royal blue. Okay, so a good application. Little bit of running, but she left enough of a perimeter on the bottom. Okay, any questions about any of the glazing here? Okay, so you guys go ahead and get to work and remember to put your greenware in the back to be fired. Keep your projects around, and we'll